What's going on, hosers and hosettes? We are Memorial Ropin bound today, put on by AP Livestock, heading in the 10.5. I'm gonna duck steers for my buddy J-Rod, riding his big bay mare head horse today. Super stoked for that. Here's a flyer, 10.5, 90 bucks a man, pick one, draw one, High River Rodeo Grounds. Let's duck some cattle. Okay, if you don't know what's going on here, I'll explain it. A pick one, draw one is when you enter with a partner of your choosing and then you draw a second partner who also entered with someone of their choosing. The draw is completely random and the system draws teams that fit inside the category that you entered. If it's a 10.5 roping, both the header and the heeler, their numbers must be equal to or less than 10.5. And sometimes you have more headers than heelers enter or more heelers than headers enter, so you get an additional draw and you might have to pay like half of the $90 to secure that run to get full money. Don't ever knock that, because it's usually the draw guy that you end up placing with. So if you get that extra draw and you got to give an extra 50, 100 bucks, I would do that because you want to win full money if you end up winning with that draw partner. The J-Rod Regair himself, getting the yellow mare ready to rock. And here's Cowboy Cole's mount for the head side today, the bay mare. Oh, look at that. It's Colt Cornett on the heel side. Trying to take my job, is he? Rabba. We are back at the Comedy Ranch. No luck for Cowboy Cole today. Spun two pretty good steers, I'm not gonna lie. I liked him. Unfortunately, a little bit of tough luck for my heelers today. I drew Tyrese Wales. We were team 92. Ducked him one. I was off the line by quite a bit. That definitely did not help, but that bay mare, I had faith that she had the wheels to still put us in a spot to turn a good steer, and she did. And then J-Rod and I, we roped like 124 or 128 or something like that. Got out way better. Felt like I saw the start a ton better. Steers were tricky, very uneven. You kind of just had to be sharp between the ears today with the start. Pick that steer's head up instead of bending it a little bit, so I feel like I might have crunched him. He got a little bit heavy. I went out in round number one, stuck around to watch J-Rod. Him and his dad made a really good run in the first round. Friggin' headers, man. Left him high and dry in the second round. Rabba. And then I boot, scoot, and boogied on out of there. So that is done. Wrapped up the West Irwin 10.5. No luck for Cowboy Cole. Couple good sticks. They felt good for me. And it was nice to just throw my rope too, you know what I mean? Sometimes on the heel side, you get starved a little bit, but not on the head side. I got to throw. I felt like I did my job and gave my heelers a chance to do theirs. So that's all that matters. Had a freaking blast. First time I ever rode that bay mare at Jordy's too, and she felt friggin' muy bueno. So I'm stoked to maybe have the opportunity to ride her some more this summer, do a little bit more heading. All right, this is the first time I've ever swung a leg on J-Rod's bay mare. We had planned to practice a few days before the jackpot, but everyone was in Christmas mode and the practice fell through. So I showed up with boots, spurs, a head rope, and big dreams of winning the 10.5, baby. Let's go. I did make sure I was warm and cinched up so I could run a burn steer on her and get a feel for what she's like before I had to back in and try and bend two steers for money. A burn steer is what we call it before we start with team number one. And majority jackpots will run 3 burn steers, and what that does is it gives all the team ropers an opportunity to see what the steers are doing, allows you to see what the start is going to be, and how the steers are leaving. 3 free runs before the roping starts, and I made sure that I was standing there ready to rock and roll to take one of those steers, so I could at least get a feel for how does she leave in the box, how does she she stand in the box? How does she feel coming to cattle? Does she rate down? How does she bend? All those things that go into trying to set up a steer that your heeler can catch. So what I made sure to do, having not ever ridden this mare before, was to ride her like I own her. And Jordy had told me before, like, you really got to drive her to her spot because she will get a little lazy. And honestly, I love that on a head side. I love just sitting, seeing my start, driving to my cattle. I get aggression on my rope. And when my brain's like in range, then I can just go ahead and throw my loop. Another thing I like about that is if you're really driving and working your feet, it's going to be a lot better when you get to the horn and you go to set those cattle up and give them a nice bend for your heeler. Your horse isn't going to be trying to suck out from underneath you and making a big move, and maybe you miss your wrinkles and all of a sudden you slid 5 feet at your rope and it's slingshot engaged.
Slingshot engaged.
And now your heeler's pissed because you had it on one to start a good campaign to win a roping and you jerked them away from them. Good job, header. Fortunately, did not do that. I gave 2 good looks to my heelers. And another thing I like to do when I'm getting on horses that I've never been on before is just make sure that I am trying to do everything proper. Sit square in my seat, drive to my cattle, good body position, be smart with my left hand, use my legs, and running that burn steer really helped. And whether I make it out of the first round or not, I had a freaking beauty day and a successful day because my game plan when I showed up there was to ride my horse and give my heelers looks to win money, and I felt like I did that. So, peace.
I'm from the Great White North, right? Like up above the States. Yeah. The big landmass that the rest of the world hates. Yeah. We're like above that. Fucking north, I guess. The big patch of trees.